Hello, hello.
It's 2024.
24.
This is our first live of the year, right?
It is. Yeah.
We are coming to you from the future. I know I'm being ridiculous for no reason. I just had a cup of tea. I don't have any good excuse.
I was like, what is in your cup this morning?
Tis just tea. Ooh, by the way, I'm drinking the Bengal spice tea that you turned. Yeah,
you know that doesn't have any caffeine, right?
Yes, I have it coupled with an Irish breakfast.
Oh, how does it couple with an Irish breakfast?
It couples well. They're well coupled.
Do you add any sweetener?
I do not.
All right. Well,
just straight up tea.
Straight up. You're just hardcore. There's Renee already. Hi, Renee.
What?
It's Renee.
Hello, Miss Renee. How are you? We've got someone joining us in 10, 15 minutes.
I do.
Yeah. We've got Cameron Sutter, co-founder of Plottr.
Yeah.
Yes. Can't wait for you guys to meet him.
Yeah.
Honore and I, as you guys know, went to 20 books in November.
Yep, which is now Author Nation.
Yes.
Which will be Author Nation in November. And tickets are on sale. Did you get your ticket already?
I did not buy the ticket, but I saw the email come in and I kind of panicked. I was like, I have to hurry up and get tickets. So
yeah, I don't know. I had, I looked, they have a countdown. Like, here's how many of this ticket are left. And this, how many of the, is this, and I have to just figure out when I'm going to be there. So I know which ticket to buy. So I've got to just reach out to them.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to, well, I guess we'll talk more about that event in probably October-ish, right before it happens in November.
Yeah.
Because you may or may not be there for different reasons. Honore. She's known to speak publicly every once in a while.
So often. Yeah, someone asked me about that yesterday. It's like, do you still do that? I'm like, every so often I will do that, but I am not a road warrior anymore. I do not wish to planes, trains, and automobiles myself around. So it's been a few weeks since we had a live, and you are working on a few things and reading a few things. So
yes.
Tell us what you're doing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I've been writing a fiction novel since early fall, and that's almost done. So I'll be done in the next couple of days. So that has consumed quite a bit of my capacity to write and read.
You still read other fiction books while you're writing?
I do, but I have to be very careful about what I read while I'm writing because it can influence the way my brain is thinking.
So you're reading romance?
Yeah, that is one approach. You could just change genres so that
change genres completely.
Yeah. But I'm reading in the nonfiction side. I'm reading 10x is easier than 2x.
That's one of my favorite books from last year. I read that trilogy. Who, Not How, The Gap and the Gain, and 10x is easier than 2x.
Right.
Those are three fantastic books for entrepreneur, empire builder, writer people.
Yes. And I've been on a novella kick on the fiction side. Trying to read bite-sized. I don't want to say bite-sized. I want to read something that I can read a full story, but I don't have to devote like months to reading it while I'm writing a book, right? Yeah. So on NetGalley, I was fortunate to pick up Kosa and In Excess of Dark. And let me just tell you, In Excess of Dark is from a friend of mine, Red Legault. She's just a fantastic horror writer. So you can go get that download like an art copy on NetGalley right now for free. So if anyone is a fan.
Tell us what NetGalley is. If someone does not know what NetGalley is, because I have recently been telling people about it that have never heard of it.
Oh, well, what have you been saying? See how I turned that around? Because you're probably way more familiar with NetGalley than I am.
Wow. So NetGalley is where authors and publishers put books in advance of their publication to gain traction. You can become a NetGalley reader and tell them your preferences, your genre preferences. And when books come out, they will email you, and you can also go back and check on the site. I've actually started paying attention to authors that I like, and I'll go and search and see if they have a new book coming and when it's coming and apply to read it. So I love NetGalley. My biggest problem in life right now, Lucas, is that there are so many books.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a book on hold at the library that they just emailed me. They're like, it's ready. I'm like, but I'm not ready. What do I do now? So I've got to go pick that up before the storm comes this weekend. Big storm coming in hot. So if I'm going to be snowed in, I might as well have yet another book to read. And then I have books because I have friends who are authors who give me the advanced copies and copies of books that they've read. So I have all of those books to read. Yeah. And it's like, and every day I'm like, just no books today. How about just we take a break from today? And there's always a book that comes in one way. It's either I buy it, like, really? I mean, I could not buy, I could not buy a book for a year, and I would still probably not put a dent on the books that I've already got. I'm looking at a shelf. Like, these are supposed to be the next one. So, but I just see this comment in here. All right. So I'm not sure I'm going to say this correctly. Chandresh.
Yeah.
Is that right? Chandresh. Yeah. You'll have to tell me if I'm saying that right, or if it's Chandresh or Chandresh. I have a difficult name. So I hope you'll give me grace on this. I purchased your book in 2018 because I wanted to write nonfiction. Fast forward to 23-24, just finished my first book finally. Mazel tov, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Very good. Very good.
Chandresh, put your book title in the comments. This way,
yeah, is it finished, like manuscript finished, going to the editor, or finished as in when you put 24? I'm thinking that it's still in production, but we'd love to know your tentative title, your working title.
There you go.
So anyway, I don't need any more books, but of course I'll probably get 2 or 3 today. Why not? I do take time to read every day though. So I do have a morning time and an evening time. And then I also have like Chandresh. Yes? I hope so.
There you go.
So I do take time every morning and evening. And I do the Goodreads Reader Challenge.
Are you doing it?
Oh, I've done it for several years.
Yeah. I was debating whether I wanted to do it again this year because I fell short.
Oh, did you? I've fallen short one year. And last year, I think I said I wanted to read 125 and I read 127 or 128, something like that. But I can't count the books that I am working on that are being published that I've read. I mean, I would be an Olympic gold medalist of readers if I could count every book every time I read it in advance of publication. Oh, fantastic. Oh, you're going to love being an author. Just going to love being an author. That's fantastic.
Well, Chandresh, make sure you come stay with us in future lives because we do this every week. And when your book is done, we'd love to hear about how it's going for you.
Absolutely. And where are you? Where in the world are you? We'd like to know where you are. So what are you reading? So are you reading anything nonfiction? Are you reading 10X is easier than 2X, and you're reading Better Than Dark, or Going Into the Dark, or You've Got a Dark Mind, I'm Scared of You? I don't forget the title.
In Excess of Dark.
In Excess of Dark. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing with the dark stuff. I mean, horror is such a very big genre. It has tons of subgenres, and In Excess of Dark is a grief horror kind of read. So yeah. So, but grief horror are books you truly feel them when you read them. There's like no way to read that kind of book and not feel a little tug at the old heartstrings, whether it be whatever. But they're usually not full of the things that most people think horror has. Like, there's not a lot of gore and craziness in those books.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Ever since I was surprised by Cujo, who looked like a very cute puppy on the television.
And then
yeah.
Yeah, but if you read Cujo though, you'll have a different experience than if you watch the movie, because in the book, Stephen King makes you feel bad for Cujo. He just wanted to be a good boy. That's all.
I see.
Yeah, kind of breaks your heart a little bit.
All dogs go to heaven, Lucas. I'm not reading Cujo. All right. So, Sean Brash, let's go back to you. The Guide for Mental Health Professionals Aspiring to an Independent Practice.
Oh, look at that.
All right. Very good. And he's just outside of Manhattan, which we approve.
Rockland County.
Message. Yes. Very good. And I think Cameron's going to be popping in very soon.
Yes.
So you're working on your fiction. Do you have a nonfiction book coming out in this year? Do you think?
I do. Okay. So I have one, I have one book that I'm drafting. It's a, full on nonfiction book. And I need to put out the workbook for Monetize Your Book with a Course that I've been aspiring to publish. And honestly, what's holding it up is just me. I need to get in touch with Dino and have a cover made. So Dino, if you're watching.
He is not. I'll tell you where Dino is later, and we're bitter about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He's in a much better place than I am right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
all right. So you get the workbook out.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the workbook out finally.
Right. So a couple of fiction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nonfiction.
7 fiction books this year, 2 nonfiction pubs. So I'm just like la 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 la. So that's
what I did last year. Remember how tired I was and grouchy at the end of the year?
You really did. And I was hoping that I'd be smart enough to learn from your experience, and I'm not.
I had a great year. I had a great year. And it was a lot. 7 new books and 2 redos.
Wow.
Was a lot of individual creativity and production. I'm just saying, I'm not telling you not to do it, because it was awesome.
Right.
It was also like, oh, and it's publishing date again. Oh, look, there goes another one. Like, bye. It was really fun. A great year. Totally set me up for this year. I have 2 coming in February. You Must Monetize Your Book. I Must Monetize My Book workbook, and then fiction. And then I have a couple of nonfiction titles I'm working on, but I'm just not ready to talk about them yet. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually like a kind of a nice segue into talking a little bit about Cameron, because he's, he is one of the co-founders of Plottr. He's the original designer of Plottr. Yeah. And Plottr is software that can help you plot your book. So
fiction or nonfiction.
Not to give up the big story yet, because we'll have Cameron explain for himself.
Right.
Let the expert talk about his thing. But instead of me sitting here trying to put it all together, but what a tremendous help that is in the process of writing, because I must spend a month plotting a book before I start writing it. And that's like,
how much easier do you think it makes writing?
I think having a process and a system helps me tremendously. And if you use Plottr as a tool to help you do that, then fantastic. To me, having something repeatable and dependable and reliable is huge, because I only have so much confidence in so much pantsing. I'm a self-proclaimed plantser. I like to plot and then pants some of it.
I'm a plantser.
I have to have at least an end state in mind where I'm driving the bus. And a plot is absolutely necessary for my little logic-based engineering brain to step off with confidence in writing. So otherwise I'm going to have like shiny object syndrome the whole time I'm writing. Like, oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do this. So to me, the plot is absolutely like, it's a great roadmap. I have to have it if I want to get it done quickly. And if I want to have confidence when I'm writing. And Cameron's got Plottr to help us out with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are we ready to talk to Cameron?
Is he ready to talk to us?
He's here. He's got thumbs up and everything. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't see that part, so
not yet.
I was just waiting for him to magically appear. So yes, bring in Cameron, please.
All right. So everyone, hold your applause till the end. Da-da-dan. Hey, Cameron, how are you doing?
Hi.
I only have the Whip app from Big Bang Theory.
That's right.
I don't have the applause app. So
Cameron hasn't heard that yet.
No.
You know, it's pretty impactful.
I won't use it on Cameron today. Our relationship is still new.
I got lucky. I got lucky.
Yeah, you don't want that trauma in your life yet, Cameron.
Hi, Cameron.
Not yet. Hi, morning. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Of course. I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience, kind of give your origin story and the beginning, and how it kind of got you into designing Plottr. And then we'll kind of jump off from there.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been writing books for a long time. I remember in first grade, I was writing my first ever story, during English class, and instead of listening, I was writing, and the teacher comes up and like smacks my hand with the ruler. And I always thought that was funny because, the English class, you'd think she'd be excited that I'm writing a story, but maybe she thought I was writing notes to somebody or something. But so, I've been on and off writing. I think in 7th grade, I wrote my first novel, which was probably like a novella, if that.
Wow.
And then in college, I took a class, the Brandon Sanderson creative writing class at BYU. And shortly after that, I got my first real job as a programmer. And I started a writing group during lunches, so once a week or something we would write. And I was really excited, after that Brandon Sanderson class, I published a few books and I had published before that, but I was excited again about it. And but I just didn't like my process. I was rewriting my book over and over, and I had notes in all different notebooks, and I just couldn't keep things straight in my head. And I saw this, I had this visual of how a book should weave together. The threads of it should weave together. And so being a software engineer in that group, we were looking for the right tool. We tried spreadsheets, we tried Scrivener, we tried all Word documents and things like that. And I still use some of those today, so it's not like those are not valuable anymore, but they have their place, and so we were software engineers. We're like, let's start building our perfect tool, the one that would fit us perfectly. And this kind of vision I had in my head of the threads weaving together. And we did it for this hack week at our company, just this week that we could build anything. So we built it together. And then after that, I felt like, man, this has some real value. And I started using it for my own writing, and it was awesome. So that's kind of the origin of how Plottr started. And after that, I shared it a little bit on blogs here and there, and just kind of slowly grew over many years as just a side project. And then in 2020, I quit my job and started doing that full time. So,
wow.
Yeah. So it's been an adventure.
So when was that week? When was that week that you created Plottr initially? What year was that?
I think it was 2014.
Okay. So we're coming up on 10 years.
Yeah. Getting close to 10 years, which is pretty cool.
Right? You're a
right. That's how it always works. The overnight success that takes 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything is 10 years or longer in my case. It's fine. Everything's fine.
You're technically an expert now.
Yeah. Well, I'm at the 20-year mark. This is my 19th year. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know. Let's have a moment of wow.
But you're so young. I mean, would you start when you were 5? What's going on here?
Yes, thank you, Lisa. Oh my gosh. Text in the mail.
Smooth.
An actual text will be in the mail to you because I'm old. I have people that I don't have checks. I don't have checks. Can I just pay you with my app? I'm like, you can.
Well, you can just tell how conditioned I am after 20 years of marriage. This is what Tammy has done to me.
Well, yes, and she's delightful. So I'm going to have her back here and say, "You're welcome."
You're welcome.
That's what she would say to you. So Cameron, you are. I met you at 20 Books, which is now Author Nation, which we were talking about earlier, and you were so generous with your time talking to me and showing me Plottr. And I spent some time actually this morning getting into it because we met. I finished the year. I went on vacation. I just came back from vacation 2 days ago. And so
after 20 books is just a blur always.
Yeah, it's a blur and then rest. And so not being on the computer, trying to give my brain a rest. So I got into Plottr this morning
Cool.
Not for the first time, but like maybe for the third or fourth time, but in earnest. I was like, okay, I'm going to start to do this. So it's on my phone, it's on my iPad. Like I did all the things and it was so easy. And when I say it was so easy, I mean, I'm not a tech person. I will take something to my husband and just go, it's not working.
Like, well, I know that question.
Yes, it's not working. So please it's not working, make it work. But it was so easy. And your prompts were even delightful. It was like, just do this. It's really easy. And then it was like, wasn't that easy? Oh. And the answer was yes. So for anyone who is reticent to try yet another thing, I just want to throw this in there, because I have tried Scrivener so many times because a lot of people swear by it and they go, oh, this is wonderful. And I love it. And I do all the things. And I keep going, I must be dumb. I must just have to try one more time and I can figure it out. And then, it's the longest, 3 hours of my life. And then I don't kill someone and I close it and I go off and do something else. So I was really excited by how visual the app is and how I can see where things are going to happen and I can make notes and all of those things. What I really liked was the fact that you have so many videos on YouTube. So I want to point out that not only is the app fantastic and it can help you to plot on the go, right? And plot on the go. But if you have any questions at all, there is an expert video that is going to walk you through the entire process. So I had to stop myself when my little timer went off, like, okay, time's up. You have something else you have to go do. I was excited and bummed because I was like, wow, this is great. I can spend some time studying this and have a clear understanding of each thing I want to do taught in an easy way. So I just want to say thank you for providing that. That's genius. So the app is genius,
thank you.
And the education around it is also genius. So I'm really excited to take some time during this upcoming snowstorm and be like, oh, I can't go anywhere.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because I know how you feel about Scrivener. You told me, so I'm glad you had a very different experience with that. And and the videos, we try to make them like we have different types. We have like bite size. How do I achieve this, or what's this part of the app do that are like 2 minutes long? And then we have deep dives where lots of different authors will explain how they're using it. Yeah, and everybody does it differently, which is so cool. It's so flexible. Everybody uses it differently. So.
I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about it for a couple of different reasons, but the one we're talking about right now is the fact that I am writing fiction and I am using, and I'll get the link for this too. JT Ellison has her 22 steps to writing a novel that she is putting out through Substack. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, this is all perfect timing, is I can use her guidance in conjunction with Plottr to put all of my ducks in a row for the different fiction works that I want to be getting out this year.
Ooh, that's awesome. I got to talk to her about making a template in Plottr as well. That would be very cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can help with that.
Honoree's doing it again. Magic connections.
I do it.
Being the connector.
So Cameron, where can we find those videos you guys were just talking about, just in case someone's watching and they want to check out those videos?
Yeah, so they're mostly on our YouTube channel. I think we have some in our documentation also, but I think it's just youtube.com/Plottr, which is Plottr. We were being trendy with the name, no ER, just R. Yeah, so.
10 years of trends. Has the trend been set?
It was a trend back then, and no, I don't think it's cool anymore, but too late. So.
There you go. Awesome. Okay, cool. So Cameron, did you want to share a little bit of insight into Plottr?
Yeah, I've got it up on my computer. I can share my screen and show it to you.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, let's try and do that. Yeah, let's see what you can whip up there. I might have to do. Do you see the screen share button on your?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I can bring it in. I'll add it to the stream. There you go. Look at that.
All right.
Right.
So this is the main screen of Plottr, which we call the timeline. And I've got a couple different things open, so I don't want you to get confused. This is Plottr in a Chrome tab.
Okay.
because you can do it in Chrome. And then behind it, I'm going to show you something a little bit later, and that's Plottr installed on your computer. So if you like to have it installed on your computer, you can do it that way, or you can get it in Chrome as well, or like a browser, whichever one. So I've got the story of the three little pigs on here, because this is a great template or demo that we use often to show how Plottr is going to really help you. So everybody knows the story of the three little pigs. We've got the main plot here on this line. We've got all the chapters. That pulled in notifications. So we've got all the chapters you can just scroll through here. We've got a line for each one of the characters. So we have the wolf here. We have pig 1, 2, and 3. And in chapter 1, the three little pigs leave home for the big world, right? And each one leaves home. Then they start building themselves homes. And pig 1 makes a straw house, and then pig 2 is sticks, and then bricks. And then a wolf passes by, and he smells some pigs. So I'm not sure. Oh, normally I have a picture of the wolf there. I was waiting for that to pull up. Normally I have a picture of the wolf, and I just hover over that, and everybody's like, oh, wow, wolf. So I missed that one. But
I thought it was going to be like a wild description about the smell of pigs, and I was getting scared for a second there.
This is not the horror version of Three Little Pigs.
No, yeah, you've been reading too much horror. Yeah, I heard you've been reading horror. You've been reading too much. No, just kidding.
Just a little bit, yeah.
He's right.
So then we all know the rest of the story. The wolf. Oh, sorry. The wolf starts blowing down houses, and then the pigs run to pig 3's house eventually. But what's really cool here is you can visually see some problems with this story. And one of them is this big hole here on the wolf's line. And a lot of times people don't even think about their villain, but why does he show up this late in the story? I mean, it's only chapter 3, but what is he doing before then? Why does he show up? What's his motivation? What's the goal? Why is he around? And it just, you visually come to terms with that because you see a big hole. And then same thing with these pigs. While their brother's houses are getting blown down, what are they doing? What is pig 3 doing while his brother's house is getting blown down? Are they laughing? Are they building their own houses? Are they eating? You know, it says a lot about their character. And so these holes in your story make you think about your story and your characters and what's going on when you don't, you know, maybe they're not on screen or things you haven't thought about. So this visual nature of seeing your story just changes the game for writing the book. It helps you make sure that all your setups have good payoffs, that there's no plot holes, that there's good character arcs. All those kind of things that just make it so easy because it's visual. And you can also filter your story to see, I don't have any of these set up on this demo, but I'll make a tag here for one of the themes of this story that we often use is hard work versus laziness. So we're going to make a tag here for the theme hard work. And you can color code it. You can make it, oh, I spelled it wrong.
It's all right. We'll get an editor in later. We're good.
Yeah.
That's not the creation process.
Yeah, nobody's going to see that, so that's okay. So anyways, so I could tag, let's see, what pig 3 makes a house out of bricks. So I'm going to tag that with hard work. And then if I wanted to see all the ones that have hard work in them, I can just filter to see that. And then if I had done this more comprehensively, you could see that the hard work doesn't, from what I've tagged so far, hard work doesn't play into the story very much. So then I have a choice. Is it really a theme and I just didn't do a good job of putting it in there? Or is it not a theme and I thought it was? And now I have to come to terms with that and figure out what I'm going to do. So it just helps you to visually come to terms with your story and reason about your story in a very high level and fun and colorful way, instead of like reading a 100,000 word manuscript to figure out where things should move and the setups and payoffs and things like that.
Love it.
Are you saying now, and this is just my newbie question, so it might not be a smart question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Are you saying that when we see these holes, like with the wolf, that if we were to write this story today, it would be different? It could be different. It could be better. We should be mentioning the wolf in chapter 1. We should give him a section or a reference, like, but someone's watching or something like that, like a little foreshadowing. What's your advice there? Because I think we all know the story of the Three Little Pigs, and it's a pretty beloved story. But I'm wondering if the author, when they were writing it, had this, their story would have been better.
Yeah. So what I'm suggesting, I guess, is that's completely up to you whether or not you want to write it. But whether you write it or not, I think it's still important for you to know why is he there? What's his motivation?
Okay,
What's he
got it.
doing? Why has he showed up? And so you don't have to put anything there, but if you start thinking about that, and then maybe even just for you, and it never makes it to the story, you can put that in there, and then you'll know. And there's actually something I hadn't thought about doing it this way before, but you could, if we wanted to add, I don't know, backstory here, we would do something better. But you could color this like, I don't know, red, and then any of these red ones, for example, don't actually show up in the story. They're just for you to know. So that's some of the panels on my wall just fell off. These soundproof panels. That was weird.
That's awesome. Well, Cameron, I do really appreciate that perspective you just gave on that, because it's an intentionality, or it's an intentional thing. You know, it's okay to not have something there, but it's under the premise that you understand that and you're doing that on purpose, and it's not just by accident. It may reveal that there's a gap in your story, I think, to your first point, that you may desire to fill once you recognize that there's an actual gap.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is the timeline of Plottr, but there's other things that Plottr can do for you. So it also becomes your series Bible. And to show you that, I'm going to show you these 3 tabs up here fairly quickly, but I won't go into as much depth as they probably deserve. But we got the characters tab here. And so this is for all the characters in the whole series. And when I say it's a series Bible and that you can have all the characters for the whole series, I have to explain first that this is just book 1 of the 3 Little Pigs. But if we were to write book 2 and book 3, you can easily do that within Plottr and have it all in the same project. So we could have The Wolf Strikes Back. And then we could have The Return of Mother Pig.
Oh, yes.
And each one of these will have a separate timeline that you can fill out. So I can switch easily between them, The Wolf Strikes Back, and then go back to the 3 Little Pigs.
Wow.
And you also have this series view where you can see the whole series. And I usually use a demo file that's more filled out, and I didn't find it on my computer this morning, so I lost it, and I gotta find out where I put that.
I feel like you need to come back and do like advanced Plottr, right? Like this is basic Plottr, but with some advanced foreshadowing. I feel like we need to have you back to do an advanced Plottr.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is the series view is meant to be like a bird's eye view of the whole series, so you can see each book as if it were one chapter in a larger story, and rearrange books and things that don't happen in books or character arcs for the whole series. So that's cool. That's a point there. So so with characters, you can have images in here. You can have all sorts of customizable traits about them. We felt like for the 3 Little Pigs, something important that would be to track about them is what their primary trait is, and for the pigs, what type of house they built. So Pig 2 here, he built a stick house, and he represents laziness, or his primary trait is lazy. Whereas Pig 3, he built a brick house, and he's a hard worker. And then the wolf, he doesn't have a type of house, and his primary trait maybe is hungry. But those are all customizable. You can have as many as you want there. We also have templates of all sorts of like personality tests. My favorite is this online dating profile. So you can add this to each character, and there's just tons of questions that you could fill out for, especially for a romance. But even if you were just wanting to have fun with your character and just like fill out a dating profile for them, you can add that to a character, and then he's got this online dating profile, and you can just fill it out.
So wait a second. Is that actually like, just giving you, is it a fun way to talk about like a character profile, basically to build out the depth of the character before you?
Yeah. And we have a bunch of these built in already, these templates, or you can
awesome.
just customize which attributes you want. But it's a fun, sometimes counterproductive, because you have more fun doing that than writing, and that's not the point. But very powerful. So.
Well, so Cameron, I think that, you and I talked about this feature at, not particularly this feature, but some of these features in Plottr. You pull in common themes, common tropes, common expected elements of these stories. And so I think as a writer, especially if you're kind of new at the game and you're new to a specific genre, you could use this as a tool to help you kind of nail down those tried and true elements by using the presets in the system. So to me, that was one of the big benefits of Plottr over, like you said before, like you just opening a new spreadsheet or something and trying to start from scratch.
Yeah, so we call those templates, and there's a bunch of them built in with these story structures or way to go about writing your story. We've got a bunch of these built in. So we've got some for mystery. If you're writing a mystery, we have the hero's journey. We have romance stories. We have horror in there for you if you're writing horror. We've got like 30 or 40 different templates in here. Some are a little offbeat, a little strange, but some of them are just like tried and true and everybody knows them. And so if you're familiar with, so here, I'll choose the hero's journey and show you what they look like. So when I add one, it not only has the structure that this template gives you and tells you, okay, so here's the hero's journey. You start with the ordinary world and you go, all through this, each beat, each step of this thing, but also it gives you all these details for each step. And so we've worked with the creators of these systems or structures, and not the hero's journey because that one's just on Wikipedia, but we've made all these templates custom made from these people and put in all these details in there about what do I do in the ordinary world, even like breakdown of where it comes in your story and stuff like that. So again, here's Call It Adventure. Each one just has a ton of details. So if you're familiar with a type of story, you can almost just do paint by number writing your book. Like you just put in the pieces of your story with these beats. You just add a new line here, just call it my plot, and then you just start adding new okay, this plot point is the ordinary world. My ordinary world is the pigs at home, something like that. And then you can just plug in your pieces of the story. But if you're not familiar with the story, a type of like a romance story, and you want to either add a subgenre, like a romance subgenre or a mystery subplot in your story, then you have the template already there, and it kind of teaches you and guides you how to write that type of story or how to add those elements to your story already. So it's like superpower. I call it easy mode. It makes writing a book so easy and so useful.
And then once you've filled all this out, then what do you do?
So you don't actually write your story in Plottr. You export it to Word or to Scrivener. Those are the two options that we have right now. You can export to Word or Scrivener, and it already comes with this outline that you've made, this timeline. The structure's already there. If you use Scrivener, it's already in the little folders in the corkboard. It's already filled out. If you use Word, it's already in the outline format, and so you can just start writing from there. So it's just a couple clicks to get you writing once you're ready.
That's awesome.
And then if in the process of writing you decide to alter the plot line or you decide to change something, is it best to come back to Plottr and make those changes there and kind of keep this as the template, or not template, but the baseline for your story?
Yeah, so it's really up to your process. But I found that when I keep Plottr the source of truth is what I call it, then it makes the rest of my writing organized. Because I know I'm going to change things in Scrivener when I'm writing in that. But I make sure to come back in Plottr and say, okay, I rearranged this, or I did this, change this character is now like this. So that it may feel like extra work for you at the time, but when you're on like book 3 or book 10, you're going to be grateful that you did that, because you're not going to remember that one side character's eye color, and your fans are all going to be saying, why'd you change his eye color? I love that they were blue and now they're brown. What's up with that? So
yeah, well, that becomes the authoritative document or authoritative source for. And I mean, this would be huge if you were building a series, because you can, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cameron, can't you use, like, once you create this plot, you can duplicate it for the next book in the series and then just alter the information?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to do that. You can duplicate these plot lines. If there's like one individual that you want, you can duplicate it, and then you can move it around from book to book if you want, or to the series timeline, things like that. So you're able to move whole plot lines. You can move just individual scenes, things like that. And then you can you can duplicate books to books. We're working on a better way to do that, but you can create a template, your own custom template, and then just duplicate that from book to book. So yeah, there's ways to do that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Is it okay to talk a little bit about nonfiction for a moment? Because we do have a question from Chandresh, and I think it would be interesting to kind of.
Well, I think we have to talk about nonfiction a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So can you bring up one of your nonfiction templates?
Yeah, actually, we're building out our nonfiction templates, and the very first one is very special, and that is actually Honoree's very own system of, what do you call it? You must write your first book system.
It is write your first nonfiction book. Yeah, it was from the book Write Your First Nonfiction Book.
Yeah, so we've taken that book, we've worked with Honoree, and we've made a template, or we're in the process of making a template. This isn't available in Plottr yet, but we're in the process of making this template for nonfiction. And it has details from that system of how to write your book. It's going to come with the 8 chapters that she recommends. And we did this the other day when we were looking at it. Why is there 9? Because the introduction is there. It's not one of your 8 chapters. I did that same double take. I'm like, wait, there's 9 there.
Wait, there's 9. It's fine. Yeah.
And then there's the main point of the chapter, and then idea 1, 2, and 3, and so forth. You can have as many as you want there. So that's one way to do a nonfiction book, and just like, so put in your ideas here. Maybe the main point, I don't know. Maybe we're writing a book about fishing. I don't know why that came to mind, but fish are fun. And then fish can swim. That's maybe your idea 1. And then you just start filling in.
Fish are delicious. Oh, wait.
Oh, there we go. Delicious. Yes, fish are delicious.
That's the end. That's the end of the story.
That's the end. Yes.
Yeah. Well, so then
Fishing is fun.
You can easily just drag and drop and move things around in Plottr. So yeah, now fish are delicious is towards the end. We'll move that over there. But so I've seen other people do nonfiction in different ways, but I think that this is my favorite. I'm actually in the process of writing a nonfiction book, and this is what I've used to write it. And it's been great so far. I told Honoree that I was struggling with my book, actually, and once I read her book, and this is a little plug for you, but it's true that
well, thank you.
That once I read her book and put it on Plottr with those 8 chapters, everything clicked, and now I'm off to the races and writing. So it's been really great. And not only does it come with this timeline chapter, or this timeline template, but it also comes with notes from her book. So her template's a little special. Most templates aren't like this, but this one is going to have things about what are those 8 chapters, what do you put in the back matter, what do you she mentions the best-selling book formula, so we'll talk a little bit about that, and what's the big idea of the book. And so you can just click into these, fill them out, and this is a section that we didn't talk about before, but it comes with this notes area, which is great for world building, backstory, research, brainstorming, all those kinds of things. So like I was saying, your series Bible, you have this area for notes, for characters, and for all the places in your story. Even with nonfiction, you might have places that you've researched. Maybe you're writing about Buckingham Palace or something, so you can have pictures about it and all the notes that you found and links to different websites that talk about it and things like that. So all of that you can keep in one place to stay organized and not drive yourself crazy like I was doing with notes everywhere.
Let's answer Chandresh's questions.
Yeah,
Lucas, do you want to read those?
Yeah, I was going to try and put this up. I can't promise that it'll show up properly on the screen because of its length, but I'll read it aloud as well. So, can you do cross relationships in nonfiction? So, if you're like, let's say you're writing a book about marketing, he may touch on social media marketing in a chapter, but write in more detail about it in another chapter. So it sounds like marketing may be one of the plot lines, right? Or
yeah,
social
so that's
media.
That's one way you could do it. You could have a plot line where it just where you just name it social media or marketing or something, and then that's in each chapter, whatever you talk about for that. About that topic in that chapter, you'd put in this spot. Another way that you could do it is you could make a tag for we've hit a bug, folks. I don't know what's happening there. Sorry.
It's because you're not done with the template.
Well, you're not done with it, but I know you just did it in the fiction template.
Yeah, I did it in the other.
Create that tag. You
So we
create
could-
that tag, and then you can see where you talk about it in the book. So that's
right.
cool.
So we could create that tag, and anywhere on any of these scene cards, we could add that tag. On any of the notes, we could add that tag for social media, and then you can filter and sort and see things and search by that tag and stuff like that. So
right.
It makes it very easy.
So, Chandresh, to answer your question from a practical perspective, a lot of times I will kind of drop an Easter egg in a chapter and say, I'm going to talk about this later, right? Or you can also be specific. Sometimes I say in chapter 6, I talk about this, or wherever you're talking about it. Other times I just say, I'm going to talk about it soon. One is more difficult than the other, because you have to, as you're writing, say, I'm going to talk about this in chapter X. And then you have to make sure that at some point in the process before it's published, you have to make sure that it's cross-referenced so that it really is on page 45 in chapter 6, if that's where you've written about it. So sometimes it's easier just to say, I'll be talking about it in a later chapter, so keep your eyes peeled. Alternatively, you can call out where you talk about it. It really is author's choice on that one. Cameron, do you have any idea when this particular template will be ready?
So I'm hoping pretty soon. I'm hoping that we can get it. We're releasing some other templates here pretty soon. So hopefully we can get it like by the end of the month, or at the same time that we release those at least.
Perfect.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's really cool. It's really cool to have it, have something in Plottr that can help people to write their books. That really is awesome.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah, it's going to be the first nonfiction template. And I think we've had lots of people asking about it. And I think there's going to be so many people that love it. And your system is great, and it's helped me so much. So I'm really excited to put it in Plottr. It's going to help so many people. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
It was like a lightning bolt at 20 books when you were showing me this. And I said, well, you really need to talk to Honore, because she had just shown me the book. I'm like, it's right there. So can you tell us a little bit about the different templates that people may be familiar with? I know you've got the 3-story method preloaded. I'm just thinking that maybe some of these template types would catch people's awareness, and they'd be like, oh, I'm familiar with that. I've got the book. I'm trying to do that. Plottr would be a great complementary tool for that.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. So let's see. Some of these don't come from books necessarily. Like I remember this one comes from a blog post by somebody. I forget where we got this 12-step mystery formula actually, but yeah, let me see if I can find one.
Snowflake is one that I've tried.
Yep, there we go. We got the Snowflake.
Limericks?
Romancing the Beat. By Gwen Hayes. She wrote this book. So that's, and there's actually a link here where you can find out more about the template, and we'll have to do that for your template as well. So that you can find out, because it's great to have the template, but you need the backstory or like the whole thing to get the full picture. So that there's a link in there for people. So that's one. Awesome. Yeah, here's the Snowflake one. Story Circle from Dan Harmon. There we go. There's a link also to find out more about that.
I haven't even heard of some of these. This is so cool. I want to write all the books, all the templates.
This one, Take Off Your Pants. That's a funny one. I know that comes from a book.
Yeah.
The W plot is pretty well known. The 3-story method by Jay Thorne. Yeah. The Story Engine's Blueprint. That's a recent one from us by Joseph Nassis. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
So,
and then there's some funny ones in here, like a haiku. We have a template for a haiku and a limerick. And
look at that.
Yeah,
do you have a song? Do you have songwriting yet?
We have I don't think there's songs. No, but there's a sonnet.
There you go.
All right. Well,
close.
Songwriting would be fun. Like a movie script would be fun, right? Like, let me just give you some more work to do.
We do have a few movie script actually. So we'd have the Pinheiro screenplay, and then
all right, cool.
There's a couple other. We have a category for that, playwriting.
Look at that.
Or screenplay. Here we go. There's screenplay ones. So
wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it's almost an overwhelming amount, and it makes you want to just learn all about them, which is dangerous. So try not to do that. But maybe slowly over time, like explore different ones, but start with the ones that you're familiar with. So.
All right.
Excellent. So So Cameron, if someone is interested, Chandresh was just commenting, and I put it up on the screen for a second, that he'd love to try it out. Where can people, I'm assuming you want them to go to plottr.com. I've got the link in the show description, but is there like a trial? Is there like a grace period? Is it a download? Like, tell us a little bit about what the experience is like for a user when they want to learn more about it.
Yeah, great. So there is a free trial. It's a 2-week free trial, and there's a couple different ways to get Plottr. You can either do the it's hosted online and it's all saved in database, so you don't have to worry about your computer blowing up, and it's all backed up in the cloud and stuff like that. And then you can access it easily from all your devices, and it syncs magically and things like that. Or if you would rather have more control and you want it to be like Scrivener, where it's on your computer and you have the files, and you're making sure they're backed up and stuff like that, you can also do that. So you can download it onto your computer, and it has little files just like a Scrivener project or Word or something like that. So there's different ways to get it, and you can sync between computers that way, as long as you use Dropbox or like iCloud or something. It's not magical, but you can sync between computers. But at least you have more control of it, and some people just like it better that way. So it's up to you.
Gotcha. And there's no IP transfer for, just for those that are curious out there. If we're using the cloud-based, web-based, they don't have to worry about IP protection as far as like transferring rights or any of that, right?
No, right. Yeah. We don't have any rights to anything that you've written. We don't have any access to being able to see it. There's a few developers on the team that have very, very limited access, and you have to grant access and things like that if you need help or something with tech support. But yeah, there's nobody that can access your stories or anything. And they're all password protected and secure and things like that. So
love it.
And then there's, so you're asking about pricing and things like that. You can either buy it, pay once and have it for life, including updates and things like that. Or if you want to pay a little bit at a time, you can buy it and pay annually. So there's different ways to do that too. It's, we're trying to be accommodating, makes it a little more confusing sometimes. And we recognize that. We're thinking about how to handle that better, but you can do it either way.
That's great. And is there a limit to the number of books I can have in the system at any time? Is there a cap?
Nope, no limits on any usage at all. No, not even like image uploads or anything like that. So you can upload as many images, and you can do as many projects and many books. And
wow.
From experience and from talking to people, it doesn't slow down when you have 30 books in a project. It still is just as fast and things like that. So we tried to architect it in a way that it doesn't slow down. So.
Excellent. Do you want me to keep the share screen up, or are you done with sharing?
Oh yeah, I think I'm done sharing, so we can
okay.
probably.
I'll go ahead and close that down for you there. Okay, yeah. Cool. Well, you took care of it. That's awesome. I was gonna flip a little magic button, but
sorry. I don't get to look cool. I know flipping the button is fun, so
I'm good. Oh, that's great. So this was one of the software that I saw at 20 books, but it was the software I saw at 20 books that jumped out at me. And really kind of showed me something I hadn't seen before in the market. I really like how unique Plottr is, and I like how friendly it is, especially for, like, I write a series. So for me, having all of this in one place, and having something that's series friendly, and having all that not just randomly stored in 3 or 4 different notebooks or in places or whatever is super helpful. And I love that you have it so that you can use it on multiple devices, because let's face it, I mean, when you're parenting or you're working a full-time job or whatever, and you're pulled away from your desktop or whatever the case is. I have a friend who wrote his whole book while he laid in his crib, his son's crib. He's like, dude, I wrote this whole thing on my phone trying to put my kid to sleep every night. That's
awesome.
You just never know where the writer's opportunity is. And so it's really cool that you can do that with this software.
Yeah, it's I had a comment about something you'd said, and it's gone now. But
well, if you let me talk long enough.
Happened to me. I'm glad it doesn't just happen to me. It's been so cool having you talk about this, Cameron, and I feel so grateful that our paths have crossed because I'm a very visual person. And so seeing this really didn't eliminate all of my head noise, but it eliminated a big chunk of it, right? It was like, oh, but how will I make sure that I don't make the mistakes? Because I can't remember what I had for lunch 3 days ago, let alone what I wrote 3 chapters ago. So having something visual is going to be very helpful. So thank you for that.
That experience isn't uncommon. So many people, we show it to them, and within a few seconds, they're just like, that's what I need. That's the way my brain works. That's what I've been waiting for. Where have you been all this time? And I didn't make it for that. I just made it because that's what I saw in my head, and I thought it'd be perfect for me. And it turns out a lot of people think that way. So it's been really exciting to see that and to hear that constantly. So.
Yes. Awesome. Well, what is the cost of Plottr?
So
if those want to know.
So there's different tiers, like I said, and different ways you can get it. The lowest is if you pay annually, I think it's $40 a year, and that's not per month, that's per year. That's or crazy. You could pay $99. No, wait, sorry. I think it's $139 to have it for life at the lowest tier. If you get the online backed up in the cloud and all the extras, it's $300 lifetime. But we do have a special discount, actually. I almost forgot to say that. Sorry.
Oh.
We have a special discount for people. Do you want me to say what the code is, or
are
you going to put it? Okay. So
we've got the link that'll go in the show notes.
Okay.
And so your code would be helpful. Yes.
Yeah. So the code is EBMC, Empire Builders Masterclass. So EBMC. You just use that code, then you get 15% off. So until the end of the month.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right, we'll put that in there. I'll put that in my newsletter too. Very cool.
Great.
Very cool. Any other breaking news you want to share? Vision for Plottr or?
Well, there's a lot of hype about AI, and we are building some AI features into Plottr. It's not going to be mandatory for anybody. You're not going to be forced to use it, but there's a few little things here and there that we think AI is going to be really awesome for, especially for fiction. Okay. And so in a few months here, we're going to be announcing more about that.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, you'll have to come back and do like a 2.0 and any breaking news, you'll just have to come on back and hang out with us.
Sounds great. I'd love to hang out with you guys. You guys are fun.
This hour was like 10 minutes.
I know.
What just happened this hour? Yeah.
Yes, especially when you crack the AI nut, because I think there's some people that fear AI without understanding that you can have AI as a to increase functionality of software, and not necessarily as a tool that does writing for you or scrapes or any of that stuff. There's a big difference there. If you're more worried about, because there's a lot of people worried about their stuff being scraped, obviously. But in your guys' case, you're using AI to increase the functionality of the software, not to scrape any of the content in the system, right?
Right. Yeah. No scraping there at all. We're not using anybody's stuff to train any AIs. We're not touching any of that.
That's right.
It's a big topic that would require more time.
Yep.
I actually write about it. If you're curious, or anybody watching is curious how I feel about it, it's either CameronSutter.com will take you there, or realhumanwriters.substack.com. And there's a lot of hype about AI, but if you understand how it works, it's not anywhere close to artificial intelligence. And I go into depth about that and try and make it really friendly with like metaphors of using a GPS and things like that. So I try and break it down, but make it easy. And so if you want to hear about that, I talk all about that on that Substack. So,
and I appreciate your perspective on that, because you're not just someone who's a writer and understands writers and understands writing, but you also, and the concerns that writers have, but you also are a software developer, and so you understand AI from the perspective of someone on the back end and not just the front end. And you and I had talked briefly beforehand about my experience in the government and how I kind of had a different perspective on AI because of that. And I think it just changes your risk tolerance and your understanding of what is and what isn't possible. And it's always good to be educated. So for those that are anti-AI, I still encourage them to read it, because the more you know, the better you are equipped to manage AI in the future, whether you're a proponent of it or not. Because honestly, it's being integrated into so much software these days that I don't know that you'll be able to touch anything in 5 years that doesn't have some AI element to it at that point.
Yeah, I bet.
AI light.
I bet. Right.
Yeah. Light AI. So, all right, cool. Well, Honoré, do you have anything else?
No, I think we are so good. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thanks everybody for coming. Chandresh, thank you for joining us. Renee, anyone else who just, is a watcher but not a commenter, we welcome you to come back again next time. Cameron, thank you for joining us and sharing with us about Plottr. And I'm excited to be your first nonfiction template. So that'll be cool. And we'll definitely update you all when that is available. And Cameron will have you back sometime in the near future.
Thanks so much for having me. Can't wait.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. You guys know the deal. This is a new time for 2024, 11 o'clock Eastern, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 10 o'clock Central.
You get to have lunch now, Lucas.
I know, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I get to eat before 1 o'clock. And make sure you guys subscribe, get the reminders, come see us every Thursday. And we're really looking forward to bringing you guys some remarkable fresh content, a lot of guest speakers like Cameron this year. So appreciate you, Cameron. Thank you so much, sir. Honoré, it's always a pleasure, ma'am.
Sir,
and
thank
we'll
you.
See you guys next week.
Thanks, everybody.